All right. So here we go. Spin that back show. 1 2 1 2.
Turn up the dial, it's 10:30. Be back. Spin that back show, all the classics on track. From 79 to 99, we're crossing the gap. Album reviews, little known facts, hip hop intact. Saturday mornings, dive into the history. Samples and stories, old school mysteries. Remember self-static, Shiraz and TDD. Blow up at a pin. Turn it up, let the vinyl spin. 10:30 sharp, where the stories begin. From the golden era, treasures within. Spin that back show every Saturday when we break it down, the legends and the lore. Every beat, every rhyme, uncover more. From Grandmaster Flash to Nas's Raw, we're bridging the past, hip-hop's core.
Spin that back one more time. 10:30 Saturday morning. Me and Mr. Nice Guy is on the radio, on the TV, on the YouTube, or wherever this is. It's the Spin That Back show. That's what it is. What's going on, Mr. Nice Guy?
Chilling, brother. You know, that was a feisty little focus up show that we just got off of. So, you know, just decompressing from that. But yeah, you know, I'm here chilling. I had to move out to the outside. I'm in the backyard now because I'm having internet issues. But I'm here to talk about brother K Solo.
Yes, sir. We're gonna be talking about K Solo today. Let's bring his picture up here real quick. So let me just tell y'all something. So what we do here is we talk about hip hop from 79 to 99 for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Give y'all a little education, a little nostalgia. We talk about, you know, how these artists had like an impact or effect on us, basically, you know, and the viewpoint
impact on us,
basically, you know what I'm saying? Primarily. And then we talk about how they had the effect on hip hop and everything else, you know, and just the artists in general, you know. So that's what we do. We reminisce, basically. That's what we do here. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that we leave a lot of artists out or anything, but it's like if you didn't have too much of an impact on me at that time, I can't really say much about you. You know what I'm saying? Negative or positive. If I wasn't really exposed to your music like that, I can't really speak on you. You know, so I don't even try to wing it with you know, other people. There's a whole lot of artists out there that was out this time that a lot of people like and respect. But if I wasn't into it, it's not really much I can speak on it. So I think Mr. Nice Guy feels the same way about that, right?
100%. I'm glad you clarified the air what this show is really about.
Yes, sir. So anyway, like I said, we're gonna talk about K Solo. So K Solo, he had this really, in my opinion, just really one album. But the one Tell the World, what is it called? Tell the World My Name. And it was a cool album, everything. But I first heard of, see, this is what we do. We always kind of start back with like when you first heard of this artist. I first heard this artist on EPMD. Knick Knack Paddywhack, was that the name of the song?
I thought it was the Headbanger. The Headbanger.
Oh, no. It was on EPMD's second album. The one with So What You Saying?
So really, that was you know, when I was doing my research, because again, sometimes this stuff gets blurry to me. The passage of time always mess that up. So you know that's one thing I do super appreciate about Walk. Walk is good about placing things when and exactly when they happen. But I felt like that was the introduction. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong about that.
Okay,
go ahead.
So let's spin it back one time. So we know California Love, the original. The doom, EPMD used that beat first. And they had K Solo on the song. Knick Knack Paddywhack. What's going on? Is that my man Mark Cramcorn?
That's right.
Mark Cramcorn, what's going on with you, brother? This Mark Cramcorn, he's a loyal, you know, viewer. So we respect him. He's like a member of the show, basically.
That's right. Basically.
We're gonna have to spin that back to him right there. Yes, sir. So K Solo was first on there, rapping and everything. That's the first time I heard him. It was a cool song.
I definitely remember that song. That was Knick Knack Paddywhack, Give a Dog a Bone, some. Yeah, I'm on the microphone. So yeah, no, definitely. So if that was the first song, then definitely that was the first experience, and you know that was a dope song.
Or I passed Pete a microphone or wherever it was. They was like passing, you know, when he finished and everything. And then I passed, and I don't know. Either way, they took their turns on the mic and everything. And then K Solo came on there. I think he was like the last one on there, if I remember correctly. In fact, I had actually forgot about that while I was doing my research. I just thought about it right now. Actually, that's the first time I heard of him. He was all right. He was actually the best one on that song to me. But the song, the beat kind of threw me off at first when I first heard it. It was like I had to kind of like get used to the beat after.
Oh man, I love that beat, man. That's the one that that not only that Dre used, but also Electromagnetic MCs they use for getting funky. That's dope. I mean, you know, it's California Love. That beat is a banger.
Oh yeah, definitely. So when Dre had used it, it was like, oh man, that's EPMD beat. That's why I was thinking about it. One thing about K Solo, before he started really rapping, taking it really super serious and everything, he was out there boxing. And he was in the amateurs and everything. And he was out there, you know, with Mike Tyson. Well, you knew Mike Tyson back in the day and everything, when it was all amateurs and everything. But he messed his rap career up because he went to jail. He actually got a song about it on his album called Fugitive, actually. In fact, let's go through this album. Let me actually pull this album up right here. Let's see.
So yeah, this brother, he ended up doing 3 years, and he actually did some time with another famous rapper that we'll talk about. That you know some I guess with the controversy played out, you know, later. So we'll do that. You know, we'll hit that.
We can go ahead and talk about it. Actually, we can go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah. So he was in jail with DMX, and you know K Solo came out with a song Spellbound with a particular style of just particularly spelling out stuff. So he was like rapping with the spelling out of the word that he was rhyming with and stuff like that. So that this is sort of like a thing that he's using throughout the whole a style that he's using throughout the whole song. And DMX did the same thing. And you know, even though K Solo came out first, DMX was like, brother, I'm the one that came up with this and showed this to you while we was locked up. So, you know, there was a big going back in between and stuff like that. And there was even a lie detector test that came into this that, you know. So you want to say something about that, Infamous Elpo?
It was a lie detector test that actually came up too. I think K Solo took it, and actually I think he kind of failed it the same way that Gary Coleman's wife had failed the lie detector test that we didn't get to on the Focus Up show. But he tells his side, and I actually think that K Solo is telling the truth, honestly.
I think the lie detector test was inconclusive. I don't know if he failed as much as he didn't pass it, but yes. But he, you know, there was a lot of animosity, but in death, after DMX died, he's speaking very, you know, lovingly and carefully, you know, respectfully. He's even maybe sort of dialed back some of the analysis of what actually played out. So I'm just saying that, you know, he's definitely in a very positive place about all of this stuff. But you know, this was a big thing, a very unique style dynamic that they both did. And you know, we'll talk about it. Spellbound.
Yeah, so Spellbound was actually the first song on the album Tell the World My Name. And he actually doing a lot of spelling and everything on there. He actually did it in a different way than what DMX was doing it. It was a little bit more creative. It came out way before DMX's did, because he came out years before DMX. I think it was
a while. It was a while, but and that just lets you know how this happens. You know, when you create songs, just because you hear this song in 1997, that doesn't mean that someone didn't create it in 1995. You know, a lot of people are sitting on all type of stuff that they created, like, you know, long time ago. So that's just how that works out. But yeah, you're right, Elpo.
Yes, sir. In fact, Spellbound came out, let me see, what year was this when his album was actually released? Let's see. I thought I had it up here, but I guess I don't. I think it was let's say about 1990, though. Basically around there, 90, 91, somewhere around up in there. So the first song I heard off the album, it might have been Spellbound.
Yeah, so K Solo released his version in 1990.
Okay, 1990. Okay, 1990. I heard Spellbound, but I wasn't really too impressed by it, actually. It was just like, it's cool. But you know what? He had his own little style and everything. I did respect that. You know, he wasn't a bad rapper. Actually listened to the album. I went back through it, you know, a few times over the week. It wasn't too bad of an album, you know, especially for the time. It's just the production of it didn't stand up, because PMD actually did the album, not Eric. See, because Eric was actually doing most of the production for EPMD anyway, and you can tell the difference. It's a lot of similarities because of the samples and everything, but just the way that they was put together, production wise, Eric would have did a better job, at all that stuff.
It matters. It matters. You could give someone the exact same components and say, here, do something with it. And I'm just telling you that, one producer is going to put their funk on it. That's why when a lot of those cats is complaining about Marley Marl saying, oh, he just took our records and looped it. No, Marley Marl did a whole lot of stuff to it, as opposed to if you done it, it wouldn't have played out like that. So, you got to put respect on these producers and how they impact the song.
Right. And K-Solo is actually an acronym. Kevin Self-Organization Left Others. Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. It's since later, But yes, sir. So, he came out, did his little thing. Spellbound was the first track. Next track on there was Rocking for My Hometown, CI. I don't know what they're talking about, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing to do with nothing out there. It was probably Central Islip or something like that. It was some place out there. I forgot exactly where it was because he did actually say it in the song. But, coming from where I'm from, it's like, it don't mean no heads or tails to me anyway. I didn't even realize that Long Island was a part of, New York, basically. I thought Long Island place somewhere else and stuff like that. Never even heard of Staten Island and stuff like that. So the 5 boroughs meant nothing to me. And then Staten Island is actually not even part of this 5 boroughs, but it's right outside of Queens and Brooklyn, on the same island and everything. But
Shaolin, home of the Wu-Tang, shout out to brother Leroy, and brother Vic, who, grew up with all of those cats. So yeah, you're right. New York, we heard about all of this stuff, but we didn't necessarily know the particulars of the logistics of this, that, or where, you know what I'm saying? So, we got to process it from a sort of like a West Coast interpretation of things that we just didn't have intricate knowledge about.
Yeah, no knowledge at all about it, to be real.
Yeah, New Jersey and all of the stuff. I mean, those places are not far away, but I mean, you talk about New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, a lot of the OGs came from this place or that place or the other, and they're just, they're close. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And then you think about the states out there, the way it's situated and everything, like that part of like New York City and everything, it comes into the part of New York, the south side of New York, where everything is kind of like thinned out as far as the states and everything. Because if you go to New York, it's like it's all like spread out and everything. But then you got right there in New York City, you got Connecticut, you got New Jersey over here, you got such and such over here. I don't know, but it's not like California. California is just like, you got LA and you got nothing else.
California,
Nevada, you know what I'm saying? Or you're going up north, you know what I'm saying? But LA is just real big, and LA area, and the like parts of like, that area over there, like parts of New York and everything. Say if you was in the Bronx, if you was in like the Valley, and you go out to Lancaster or something like that, you'll be in a whole nother state in New York.
Yeah.
Certain, depending on how you're going. But either way, it's all situated a whole lot different. So a whole lot of the stuff we couldn't really relate to too much, but we did know that, in my opinion, the boy had flows and everything. His production was cool. Like I said, this is 1990, so it's a little different. Then everybody,
this is right around that time, because you understand we had free reign with sampling up until a point. So people start getting sued, and that's when people had to figure out a different way of creating music. So you had to be more sophisticated with your chops and your breaks and what you could clear. So you'll see different changes of dynamics of music construction. So this early 1990s. So this is right about that time.
Yeah. So you gotta realize this is like the golden time of sampling. Because right around after this time, a couple of years after this, people started using samples a whole lot less. Because around this time, it was like, even on this album, they was doing a lot of, blending and had a whole lot of samples coming in and out and everything that from different songs that you can actually pinpoint because they wasn't really, not that unpopular, let's say it like that. So the whole point of it is, you got a lot of free reign back in them days. Then the number 3 was a song called Everybody Knows Me. It was a cool song. But you know what? One thing I like about K-Solo, especially like with the next song, Speed Blocks. He had his own little style, but then he can actually, speed up his rhyme style a little bit and sound kind of like Big Daddy Kane in a sense. You know what I'm saying? And then when he slowed down his style, he had his own little flow, you know. And that's one thing about, you know, the 90s, the 80s, 90s, you know, the golden era. You had to have your own style. If you was actually sounding like somebody else, you wasn't going to last. Unless you was Ice Cube. I'm sorry.
Ouch. He was notorious for jacking beats.
Styles too. Yeah, exactly. Really jacking them styles. So then after that one, number 5 is called Fugitive. This is where he kind of telling the story about how he went to jail and everything. He kind of tells it a little different when he's in interviews and everything, but it's basically kind of like the same story. You know, he was, you know, in a situation, heard some cats that wasn't of our, you know, persuasion say the word nigga, nigger, or whatever it was, and he got into an altercation, and he ended up going to jail, and that's how he lost his boxing career right there. You heard that story?
Yeah, and he is about them hands. So, you know, that was a dude. I mean, we'll ultimately talk about him going to death row, and he wasn't the type of guy you can intimidate. So, you know, that's just for real. You know, he was.
Well, we can actually start talking about that because, you know, it's like, you know, we only got this one album on him, so we can kind of like blend in everything. Right?
Well, let's do this before we leave this album. Let's talk about Your Mom's Is in My Business, because this was the song that was like the video. This is the song that's like, you know, literally like you know, this is a song that he sort of like really kind of put out there, got exposed to a lot of people. Just, you know, when I think about MTV and stuff like that, this is the song that was basically him stepping out. And this is used at the Frankie Beverly Before I Let Go, you know, whatever. So, you know, but this was I love songs about this era, because this was a song. It wasn't about necessarily about beating up people, it wasn't about drugs, it wasn't about necessarily about the party. It's literally about a subject matter going like, look, we having this relationship and your mom keeps, you know, getting involved. And this is something that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, you know, that have that type of a situation. So this was a quality song concept, quality song execution, you know, nice little video. You know, he did a good job on this one.
Yes, sir. Spin that. Very good song. And this is the first time I actually heard or was actually aware of the Frankly Beverly song, Before I Let Go. I didn't know. I just heard that. I was just like, man, this beat is banging. And he got that Before I Let Go. I'm like, damn, that sounds familiar. It sounds familiar. I keep saying that to myself. Like I said, it's 1990. I wasn't really up on everything. Mm-hmm. But after I heard the original song, then I just started hearing it everywhere after that. But he made this song popular. Spin that back. At least in my life. That's what I'm saying. See, this is one of those songs that did make a difference, because I didn't go through the situation, but I can kind of see somebody going through it. He was a good storyteller.
Yeah.
Like with Fugitive, he's telling the story, like I said, about how he went to jail and everything. I'm not going to give it all away and everything, but he told some good stories. So it was
for sure.
Yes, sir. So
did you want to talk about the death row situation?
Well, let's talk about, you know, he was part of the, you know, his squad, or actually was it Def Squad first?
No, he was part of it. I looked at it. He was part of the hit squad. He was part of the hit squad.
He's part of his squad. His squad was, let me actually get a picture of them. I think I got a picture of them up here.
Yeah, so that's Eric Sherman. That's, you know,
down there at the bottom.
That's everybody. That's everybody. Well, because Eric Sherman was the hit squad, and that was Redman. That was K Solo. And the Death Squad, I know that was PMD and DOS Effects. They went with P.
Right. So
and Keith Murray, who was Keith Murray with? He was with he with the Hit Squad or the Death Squad? That I don't remember.
He was with Death Squad, I believe.
Yeah, so that was like the breakdown. So, you know, it's basically they were all this one sort of like collective, and then they sort of like branched off, and one went to the other. You know, they ultimately made up after a fashion, but there was some stuff. You know, speaking about Keith Murray, it was definitely a incident that involved him and his peoples in particular. So, you know, I don't know if you want to talk about that.
That's a little bit after, though. You know,
okay.
EPMD was called together and everything. They had got a whole little crew together called the Hit Squad. So it was K Solo, Redman, DOS Effects, EPMD, and probably a couple of other cats too.
Wait, DOS Effects is part of you? I thought DOS Effects was part of the Death Squad.
That was part of Hit Squad.
Oh, it was? Dang, who was left for the Hit Squad, for the Death Squad?
Before they broke up, you know, they was there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So I get it. You're saying they were originally part of the bigger thing, then it became a smaller thing.
And then when they broke up, they still went with P. It was part of His Squad.
Yeah, that's yeah, exactly. I thought, yeah, okay. So we got some little bit of dispute on there, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Well, however it is, we know that it worked out. The bottom line is there was the east side and there was the P side, and basically somebody went. It was a divorce. Some went to mama, someone to daddy. So that's the end.
Yeah. So P kept the hit squad, and he had Das Effects and K Solo, and then E had the Def Squad, which was Eric Sermon, Redman, then later Keith Murray and whoever else came. And that's what that was, yeah. So anyway, that's had happened because EPMD basically broke up. And then around that time, I think K Solo just went off. He went out. He actually said he had called up Dre and was like, man, EPMD broke up. Everything ain't working out over here. And this is what I need. And Dre was like, come on. So he went to the West Coast. I don't think he formally joined or signed with Death Row, but he was working with Dre. He was over there, as Dre's protege, more or less. And they made a whole lot of underground hits and stuff. Well, not hits, I'll say records and stuff like that. I heard a few of them this past week on the internet. Had some stuff with Corrupt, a lot of stuff with itself. But it was all right. It was cool, but it never got released. That's all I can say about it.
Well, because he was a person that defended Dre. So once Dre left, obviously that doesn't put you in the best size with Suge, because Suge was really trying to bully Dre. And like I said, K Solo wasn't one of them ones to just being allowed that type of stuff. So that there was the friction there, because again, that was a dude. He's of the walk school of philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Men that have these issues, this is how they work it out. So So yeah. And his homeboy, I believe he said his homeboy was that barber that ended up knocking Suge out. So that there was some ties there. So yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on over there. He saw a lot of stuff too, because he was over there with Sam Snead, because Sam Snead is from the East Coast. So they knew each other. So they was kind of like hanging around.
There was some bad Death Row rumors about that. I don't know if I even want to speak on those, but yeah, there were rumors he got super. Well, I'm just saying there were rumors that he got super violated in a way that really a man shouldn't even want to talk about. So I hope that that's just not the case, but you just never know. They was doing some crazy stuff over there, in Death Row, particularly Suge and his goons. It was what it was. This dude had a music empire, a stable of great producers, of great artists, and just the pride of just being a gangster and a tough guy, just basically led to his downfall. It was a very sad situation because, he did a lot of good things and did some bad things.
Yeah, that was the problem. He did a lot of good things, and then the bad outweighed the good, and that was the crazy thing. Because K Solo was one of the first East Coast artists that was actually established that actually came over there. In fact, if he wasn't, basically.
He said he was supposed to be part of the Death Row East when they were talking about that stuff. Because I believe that Suge was recruiting Big Daddy Kane. I mean, he had some great aspirations before things just kind of went to hell. But
yeah, Big Daddy Kane was over there.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot what the situation was. I got to do the research again. But something had happened. Big Daddy Kane said it was something that he was just like, no, it just didn't work out. So it was what it was. But yeah, so either way, so Solo, let's get back to the album a little bit. But yeah, he did have those hands. Let's say that much though. He had those hands. He was like Redman was crazy back in those days too. Redman was really wild. Him and the twins and everything. DJ Twins, said they was wild. So then you had a song called Number 6, Tales from the Crack Side. This is a story you telling about how you actually had hit the pipe, basically, bass pipe, he was calling it. And wrote a rhyme, and the rhyme jumped off the page and started doing all kinds of stuff. It was because he was hot. It's a good song. It's a good story. And then Your Mom's in My Business is number 7. That was the biggest song off this album, basically. That was probably one of his biggest songs anyway.
Definitely.
And then you had a song called Real Solo, Please Stand Up. That's where Eminem got that from. And then you had Renee. She was basically a song about a hoe. You always had those types of songs back in those days. Solo.
I'll be sure. I'll Be Sure. He was I think he was sampling or using I'll Be Sure on that song, Renee.
Oh, he probably did. I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. I just remember a little bit about it. Then you had the song number 11. Well, you had Solo Rock the House is number 10. That's another, kind of up tempo song and everything. The Messenger, that's like it's like, a song, a more positive song. Everybody had this, this is in the Black era. So everybody had some type of positive.
1990. That was a good thing about it. African medallions, yeah. So you had you didn't just put dumb stuff on there. You might have a love song, you might have some neighborhood song. You definitely want to have something positive, uplifting, and stuff like that. So we weren't afraid to be positive in 1990.
Right. And then Drums of Death, that's number 12. So that's about that for that album. Then he had another album called Time's Up. And you know what? The number one song on here was a song called I Can't Hold It Back. That's the first song on here. That was a great song. Everything else on here, I'm not really even hip to but that was a great song. First time I ever heard that, I was like, man, I love this damn song because it was a sample in there. I'm like, I know that sample. It was the horns. And when I found out it was Parliament, I was like, oh, damn, I didn't even know it was Parliament until after I heard this. And I heard it on the radio. Somebody said it was Parliament. I went and bought the damn album with that song. And I was like, oh, man. I think it was the Big Bang Theory. Yes, sir. Anyway, great song. But K Solo, man, he did a whole lot of stuff, though. And my favorite.
You know what? I was gonna say, I noticed I was like reading here where it says, the song Spellbound was later sampled by R&B group Brownstone for the Grammy-nominated 1994 hit song If You Love Me, which is an amazing song, by the way. Them ladies, they had they had lungs. There are certain people that kind of sing and just get you through a song. No, they had powerful voices. It was a great song. So they sampled this brother. So he gets some type of credit for that. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, they was on Michael Jackson's label, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, sir, they was. But yes, sir. So yeah, they used the drums for that. Yeah. In fact, I think Eric Summer actually did the drums on that song, actually. Because I think he's saying that he's still getting royalties for that.
If I'm not mistaken, one of them had a very tragic Final Destination type ending. I know it was one of these groups. I can't always forget whether it was them or Jade, but literally homegirl was just sipping. She was at home sipping on a glass, like a wine glass, martini glass, whatever, something like that. She tripped and fall, and it broke and slit her throat, and she died. I mean, that's like crazy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's that big tragedy right there. Sorry to spoil it.
That's a terrible thing. That's a terrible thing.
That's some Final Destination type stuff. That's your time.
But one more thing about Solo. Let me just bring this up real quick. So yeah, him and DMX was locked up in jail together. They say they used to cipher a lot. Just get up there and just throw lyrics around and everything. And that's where he said that that DMX supposed to have stole his style from the Spellbound, spelling and everything. That's a rumor that he said. DMX can't defend himself at this point, so it is what it is.
He's on record. He's on record. Yeah, he's on record defending himself, so you can go back and check those videos. You can check those songs because I believe they made there was some disses that went back and forth on the record over that as well. So but yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, K Solo is not piling on the dead man. He's speaking about him with utter respect. Utmost respect in passing.
Yes, sir. He does. He has a whole lot of respect for that man. Let me spin that back. Yeah, at Death Row, though, he said he saw a whole lot of stuff over there. He got exposed to the gangbang mentality and everything, or the culture, more or less, the Crips, the Bloods, and whatever else was going on. He saw how Suge was bullying people and everything, but he tried to bully him, basically. At one of the Source Awards, I think it was the 95 Source Awards, he told him to get into the jail cell. Was that 94 95? I think it was 94. Snoop that came out and everything. And he was like, man, I ain't doing that. So I went into the audience with my family and watching the show. And he went into the audience and nobody said anything. Anybody else probably would have got a beat down for that.
That's right, because you know who you can talk to and you know who you can't talk to. So you better pick and choose your battles. He
said he was telling Sam Snead, don't go to that party where he got violated at. And
ouch. So you heard it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I heard the rumors.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but after Dre left, he said he left about a week or two after that. You know, he was just like, well, if Dre's gone, ain't nothing here for me. So I guess it was a good thing that he left because people started really coming up dead over there. You know, people was already coming up dead, as you know. Because he said when he went over there, Redman was like, man, they kill people over there. Yeah, you know, hey, that was a prophecy right there.
I mean, once Dre left, I mean, literally, Dre was too strong of an asset to sit there. You know, he should have took way better care of that relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because he was the heart and soul of what they had. And for him to just sort of like just cast them off like whatever. I mean, even Pac got sucked it up. And when he's talking about, you know, Arriva Dirce, you know, Fruity Like This, Alizé, and all this other stuff like that. I mean, they really sort of like got rid of the goose that was laying the golden eggs. You know what I'm saying? Once Dre was gone, they were basically just doomed. It was just a matter of just dying out completely.
Yeah, it's that. You know, even K Solo say he saw that Suge was trying to move in on Michelle A, which was, you know, Dre's girl at the time. And he saw that was kind of foul and everything. He kind of went to Dre, kind of like was kind of dropping him some hints and everything, asking him some questions. And Dre was kind of like, what are you asking for? You know, he kind of got that vibe, like, yeah. And then after that, he was actually gone. So he saw some stuff going on over there. You know, go look at his, you know, his story. Go do some research on K Solo. He got a very, very interesting story. But honestly, his first album was really a great album. The second album, I didn't really, you know, I kind of slept on that, to be honest with you. It's just that one song, Can't Hold It Back. That was just the one song I heard off there. Yeah, it was a banger. You know, he got his own style. He had his own little thing. He was like the first coming of Redman, because he said he trained Redman up, you know, to be the lyricist that he is, or the performer, or, you know, the overall Redman that he is today. You know what I'm saying?
That's saying a lot, because Redman is Eminem's favorite rapper.
Right.
That's literally who he thinks is the greatest rapper of all time. So that's saying a lot, that you were the mentor, that you established the template for, you know, a person who would establish, that would build up the accolades that Redman has, because Redman is one of them dudes. You know what I'm saying? Great artist, great performer, great everything, great complete all around talent.
And a lot of people used to get them confused or thought that they was either brothers or related or something like that, because I think they have the same birthday. They kind of look alike. When Redman I hear that. I think we get some feedback or something.
Oh no, I think it just sort of like broke up, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, when Redman first came out on that song Hardcore on EPMD's album Business as Usual, he kind of sounded like K Solo when he was actually rapping around that time. Then he kind of found his own lane when he came out with his first album. So, you know, take note of that too.
Absolutely. So yes, salute to K Solo and you know, again, you know, there's a lot of people that aspire to do stuff. I always try to give an extra shout out to the people that actually achieved and did it. I mean, because even to people that I may not be into, you know, just it's just an accomplishment to just get out, to be seen, to be heard, and to be part of the pantheon of music, you know, particularly of our era, that hip hop era and stuff like that. So, you know, his name, he's etched in stone, you know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys that did that, and he was part of a big collective. You talk about EPMD, you know, there's a lot of people that would argue they might be the greatest rap group of all time. That wouldn't be my position, but, you know, I think that it's a feasible argument, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's big when you're part of that collective. You're part of the EPMD collective, so, you know.
Yes, sir. And also, let me say this, though. Last song I heard him on was like 97, 98. He was on the song with Redman on Redman's album. I think it was Muddy Waters. No, it was on what album was that? Probably was Muddy Waters. It was Redman and K Solo. It's Like That, My Big Brother, where he had sampled the Just Ice song. I forgot what song it is.
Ooh, I think wasn't that the Cold Getting Dumb one?
That's
yeah. Oh, that was dope, man. Oh, those dudes, they remade some classic joints, man. They did the Rhyming with Biz. Oh man, that's one of my, first of all, the Rhyming with Biz is one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite beats that Marley did. You know, even the Getting Funky, the version that Big Daddy Kane, or, you know, did by himself and like that. But I mean, I love that beat. I love the flip of it, and then for them cats to go do that, and they even went and got Biz to, you know, to be part of the song, the video, man. So yeah, you know, shout out to those cats. They Man, I love the EPMD folks for doing that. That man, check that out. Rhyming with Biz with the I don't know if it was the Hit Squad, the Death Squad, or whatever, but it was definitely Eric's you know,
Death
folks.
Squad then. Yeah, it had to be Death Squad with Keith Murray in them.
Yeah, I believe so. So yeah, it's dope. Go check it out. It's dope.
Yeah, because when it came to Hit Squad and Death Squad, when they broke up, man, the Death Squad just outmaneuvered Hit Squad. Hit Squad kind of just fell off. In fact, we didn't hear anything else from K Solo because he went to Death Row. DOS Effects, they made a couple of more albums after they made that first album, but they kind of fell to the wayside. But
part of DOS Effect's problem was that they came in on a real gimmicky thing that was hot. We ate it up in the beginning, but ultimately it became not cool to do. Like, for example, if one of the big underground movements, on the West Coast, we had The Good Life, which ultimately Project Blowed. They would tell you right off the bat, if you do one of those one single flippity dippity dippity, you're getting booed off the stage. So you getting a pass the mic. So it's like everybody turned on them for not being cool. They literally at some point got rid of all that. They were just rapping like regular rappers. You know what I'm saying? So, I respect what they did. I respect that movement. I'm telling you that first song, They Want Effects, whatever the name of that song is, I will bump that to this day exactly how it is. I loved all that flippity dippity nonsense that they did. The random just rhyming off of whatever. It was classic. So, salute to those brothers.
Yeah, salute to them. You know what? Spin that back one time. Let me say this too. I got to get this off here. It wasn't really a gimmick. It was their style, but everybody else that took on it and, tried to, do what they wanted to do with it made it whack. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even of their own, making. This was just what they did. So other people jumped on their tip and I don't know, they just messed up their style and everything. That was very unfair to them, but it is what it is, and they legends for that though. That's what you can't.
Legends, man. That's I'm just telling you, that's one of them songs that if people get going, it's just fun to recite. The fact that they went to all these, people were debating about the references. Like, wait a second, is that from the Connect Four? Is this from the such and such commercial? They were just so obscure, just random sort of like pop references that just was done in a real dope hip hop way. And that beat is just banging. Everything about that song is just classic. It deserves to be one of the greatest hip hop songs of all time. One of them. You know what I'm saying? So, that's up.
And you know what's crazy? When they tried to get away from that style, they kind of fell off. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So they couldn't win for losing. So.
Yeah. That's what sucks about you doing you and you being you. And then it becomes like a thing. And you're just trying to, now I'm just going to try not to do that. Now it's just like, sometimes you just got to be you. You know what I'm saying?
But the unfortunate thing is, since they broke up, Def Squad, Hit Squad, Def Squad became this big old thing because you had Redman that blew the hell up. Eric Sermon on his own blew up. Eric Sermon was a big time producer. Keith Murray had his run. Redman's still out there. You know what I'm saying? You had a couple of other people that came through. They didn't really do too much, but you know what? Let's think about this. Is Eric Sermon the East Coast version of Dre?
That's an interesting. And the thing about it is they still had that. EPMD's music style. They were using a lot of funkadelic and all that stuff. They were using a lot of West Coast type music that would appeal to West Coast people. So that's a real good connection that you make there. Because he went in like worked out something with Marvin Gaye's family to go into their vault and pull out an unreleased song and flip it and create it into something. That was really out the box.
No, it was a released song. They just got.
Oh, it was a released song.
Yeah,
I thought it was. Yeah, it was my understanding that it was like so I got that wrong. But the bottom line is, he went and did those things. So yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna say this, just like we said on the Focus Up show. Dre's accomplishments and Dre's stable of artists and basically his discography. I don't know if that can be touched.
Right.
Here's tough to compare.
It's a song called Compton's in the House, which is on NWA's album. I think it's on Straight Outta Compton, the remix. It was actually sampled from EPMD, the drum line. So, you're a customer. So
yeah,
let that be a little knowledge for y'all to spin that back. All right, what we got in these comments over here? Oh, Redman did not know. Okay.
Yeah, he's probably talking about the Eminem. Maybe he said he didn't know that Redman was his favorite rapper. So
Okay,
yeah,
what you
so
saying?
that's a big deal. So yeah, so that's what's up.
Yes, sir. He did say Redman was a big influence and everything, his favorite rapper and everything. Redman is a bad boy, man. You gotta go back and listen to Redman's early albums. He was a beast.
And he's dope now, man. He had the song
Oh,
about smacking the shit out of you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's like you never went away. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and honestly, there's been a resurgence of people from our era, just coming out and doing stuff. You got, Raekwon, doing what he did. You got the Clips, you know what I'm saying, just released their stuff. Slick Rick, you know what I'm saying. So there's a lot of cats. Nas, he's really never gone away. So I'm just saying this has been a lot of a resurgence of people from our time that's putting in work, and I can't wait till that super group comes out, because they're talking about Big Daddy Kane, Coogee Rap, and KRS One, and Rakim. Now one of them may not be part of that, but honestly, you get 3 out of that 4, I'm gonna have to see what that project's about. I'm gonna just buy it on GP.
you know what? I think I got some Rakim in here. Let me see if I can find it actually. Because you're right. Because Rakim is still, I think he's dropping something. He didn't really drop anything. He was like
No, he did. He dropped the album. I bought it. He bought, like, he produced. So every song on there, he produced. He did all the scratching, and he sort of like basically created something for most people. So he's not rapping on every song. He just basically he basically produced the album, and then had a whole bunch of rappers, feature on it. So you're talking about Chino XL, right before he died. You talking about, he's got he got my man Coogee Rap on there. You know what I'm saying? That's like my favorite song. He got like a whole bunch of people. I think Talib Kweli. He's got like some heavy hitters from our era. So Rakim did that again. He produced everything. So that was his sort of like album. I'm gonna be Dre. I'm gonna produce. I'm gonna scratch. I might, I'm gonna say some little things on it, but basically I'm featuring other artists.
Right. Hold on, I think I had let me see something here. Yeah, I think I lost it actually.
Yeah, so I bought it and I got it in my car, and I had that Coogee song in regular rotation. I think Rakim is literally just doing the hook on that song.
Oh, is that right? Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be that that Mount Rushmore, which is what, Kane, Rakim.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about. KRS One. And yeah, exactly. And literally that's my Mount Rushmore minus Cube. I always, we always say like a top five is not really 5. So my Rushmore is not really 4, but yeah, it's those 4 rappers: Rakim, Coogee Rap, Big Daddy Kane, KRS One, and Cube. That's the Rushmore of my era. I'm not gonna say the Rushmore of rap, because I think you would argue that the real Rushmore is probably gonna be Kaz, is probably gonna be Melly Mel, probably gonna be Mo D, probably be LL, just because of who he was and what he did, even though he's a little bit after that era. So but yeah, that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, yeah, just like you just said, Cash, Melly Mel, probably LL. Then you could probably have to throw Rakim up in there, just because of how they shaped and did things actually. How he made the culture move. Maybe even Mo D actually too.
And he was the dude that created a name for himself when he bum rushed Busy B.
Mm-hmm.
They got that battle ambush on tape, so it's been immortalized. And the Treacherous Street, they were one of them groups. You know what I'm saying? They were immortalized in Beat Street. But I mean, they did some things. So that's why when I say that, he's a guy that influenced a lot of people. And when you're the person that influenced the greats that came after you, that's why you got to separate and go, well, hey, without this guy, you don't have that guy down the line. So that's why I'm saying the Rushmore. You got to think about Grandmaster Caz. You got to think about Melly Mel. I mean, those two got to be on, because Big Daddy Kane basically talks about a lot of stuff that he does, the punchlines and all this other stuff. He got that from Caz, I mean, like literally Rapper's Delight, the song, the first vinyl record, literally homeboy just basically went to Caz and say, hey, let me get one of your rhymes. And he's literally rhyming. Not only he's rhyming one of Caz's rhyme, but he literally spells out Casanova Flyer during the course. Don't even change it up for himself. You know what I'm saying? So that's his impact. So, and shout out to Grandmaster Caz, because, they I think they still got the radio show on LL's Rock the Bell Radio. Shout out to LL. You know what I'm saying? I know that we had our issues with LL, with brick walls and stuff like that, but I'll never take it away from the LL is that dude. You know what I'm saying? He's the dude that inspired me, that went me from rapping about my breakdance homeboys to ripping somebody's head off. Because I heard I need a beat. I don't want to talk about parties no more.
Let me ask you this: what was that issue with LL and and Brick Walls?
Okay, so LL Cool J had a group that he was producing. LL Cool J had a record label, and he was producing these females. He had a female rap group, and so they went to Brick Walls. Brick Walls was actually doing the production for it. Right. So he was the one that brought him that Michael Jackson sample "Lady in My Life." That was Brick Walls that brought that to LL. So, but LL was like, you got to clear that sample. So basically, you're putting it on some poor, you know what I'm saying, whatever, to clear a sample. And then when that whole thing fell through, they never released those ladies. He basically takes that sample, goes to like I forgot what the people that ended up producing it, but I mean that sample is
Trackmasters.
Trackmasters. That he went to the Trackmasters, and literally, I'm telling you, that sample is the core of that song, and that was LL Cool J's biggest single ever. That with Boyz II Men. What was that song called? Hey Lover. Yeah, exactly. So, and again, so LL, I remember seeing him doing a interview where he was talking about on like some talk show, like maybe The View or something like that. He's like, yeah, I did a collabo with Michael Jackson, he let me use this sample. And I remember cutting that and sending that to big. I was like, look at this sucker over here talking. He just stole that shit from you and did. Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, I'm glad he did this. It's a great song, but look, you should have. If you know that someone brings you something, I understand this technically, you have to clear what you break this dude off. That's just being a decent person, you know what I'm saying? So again, the song is great. I'm glad he did it, you know what I'm saying? But he should have did the right thing by my dude who's no longer here. Rest in peace, So
let this be a lesson to you guys out there that's producing. These people don't care out here. Hey, and this AI, all this stuff you putting up there on the internet. And if you're sending it to Timberland, he gonna just take it anyway. Stuff that we putting on the internet these days, man, they just taking it. They just training the AI with it, and the AI is gonna stay ahead of the curve because they taking all the music that y'all taking and putting on the internet, and they just making new music out of that style of stuff. Trust me, that's what's going on.
Yeah, and speaking of AI, go ahead and check out that South Park because they're showing you what you can do. It's shout out for Mark Cram 6 for this information, talking about he played the bass on Rapper's Delight. So yeah, that's what's up.
Oh damn, well, spin that back.
Yeah, he made another reference about In Living Color, and then these, I was like, so wow, he's got that information. So he's our musician in the background. So shout out to Mark Cram 6.
Mark Cram, brother. Like I said, you are a member of the Spin That Back Nation.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you. And hit that like button while y'all in here, one time. Just go ahead and, just hit that for us one time. You know what I'm saying? Hit that share button. Make a comment on here. You know what I'm saying?
Subscribe.
Make a comment button on actual. Go back to the website and listen. Look at the show on YouTube. Leave a comment and say, we appreciate what you're doing. Something like that. We appreciate that too.
And if there's somebody you want us to talk about it, let us know.
Yeah, exactly. Give us some ideas. It's got to be from 79 to 99. This is what we talk about. We talk about from 79 to 99. But like I say, the thing is, it's got to be somebody that had to make an impact on us. You know what I'm saying? Some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Even if we didn't like it. Like I say, I wasn't really a big fan of people like MC Hammer, but the music was so far around me that I couldn't resist it. I knew it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Wasn't really dancing to it because I wasn't no dancer or nothing, so it didn't appeal to me. But I know I can speak on that music and everything. I can speak on Hammer as a person too, as an MC, as a all the other
and
stuff.
And a thug.
Oh, yeah. And a whole lot of people found out who Hammer was. They thought he was soft, but they found out the hard way.
Yeah, bring the discussion all the way back to Redman. He let you know.
Exactly.
So yeah, exactly.
Another thing, Tay Solo say he had taught Redman, some things about boxing, how to stand and everything, how to cross and how to do what you gotta do with those hands, hands and footwork, because like I said, the man was a boxer. You don't hear no stories about K Solo getting beat up. I'll tell you that.
He got jumped. He did get jumped. He did the one situation with Keith Murray's people. So that was the thing that I was talking about early. Yeah. So
They bum rushed him though. See, it was a whole lot.
They bum rushed him. Yeah. So, and that's like, again, there's probably a whole lot more to that story than we know about. But he don't deny that happened again. Like I said, people that are willing to fight, that about them hands, people like Brother Walk, they don't worry about win or lose or nothing like that. It's just basically about standing up for yourself and just being a man. So I always respect those cats that have that type of mentality. Me, I'm the mentality of like, look, let's be adults and let's talk it out. Because if we go to hands of me, it's to the death. And I ain't trying to kill nobody or be killed. So, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna be an adult. We're gonna talk it out. But yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing, you gotta watch out because you don't know who got these hands out here. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, YouTube is full of videos of people that guess wrong. People that have been popping off. I mean, I appreciate not growing up in this generation where your beat downs get immortalized and clicks. There's some people, there are people that experienced bad things when I was in school and they had to go to another school. You can't go to another place. You get outed on YouTube. There's nowhere else to go.
You become content. That's it. I ain't trying to be no content, but look, I'm too old. I'm in my 50s now. I ain't trying to get out here trying to fight nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Back in the days when I was listening to this music right here, now we can talk a little different. Then, 30 years ago, hey, I'm out there. You know what I'm saying? Doing my thing. But right about now, no, ain't none of that happening. But don't underestimate a lot of these old cats. People ran up on Big Daddy Kane, found out. People ran up on Rakim, found out. People ran up on a few people.
Both of those dudes was real thugs, like they didn't necessarily rap about thugs, like they was real goons as far as fighting and dangerous and stuff like that. So that was the thing about you go listen to the Vapors, you'll find out how Big Daddy Kane. As far as Rakim was that dude with his hands. So it was nice to be nice with your pen. Yeah, he was nice with them hands. He was a complete thorough ass dude. So salute to Rakim.
Yes, sir. So anyway, like I say, we was talking about my man K Solo. I just wanted to give him his props, man, because he was a rapper. I had to admit, back in 1990, he was like on I ain't gonna say the top of my list, but he was one of those rappers I was actually like looking out for, listening to, and everything. I do respect what he did. A whole lot of people came after that, and in between, and maybe a little bit before, they kind of like pushed him to the background a little bit, but I did appreciate it. I had his album, so I can say that much. I did buy his album. I did bump it. But something else that came out around that time, I think might have been some Ice Cube or something that made me just stop bumping that.
Hey, that's the thing about the next thing comes on is on to the next thing. So we're giving the flowers to, again, those people that impacted us, those people that did the music that were part of the movement that some of us were a part of, not to be taking all these subliminals. But the bottom line is, yes, we give lots of respect to basically the whole EPMD collective, and in this instance in particular, K Solo.
Okay. Did you put this up on Mark Cramcorn?
Yeah, he talked about Busta Rhymes 19. I'm gonna tell you, Mark Cramcorn 6. I wanted to do a Busta Rhymes spin that back, but Walk and Tattoo, I believe, previously did one. Because to me, he is one of the greatest guys. When I think about, you talk about the top rappers of all time, I think that he deserves his hat in the ring, because first of all, not just his success, not just but his skill. You're talking about his ability to rap fast, his ability to do his charisma. You know what I'm saying? He was like ODB with much greater rap skills. You know what I'm saying? He's just that dude. I mean, and then you talk about this connection to Leaders of the New School. Leaders of the New School is one of these great collectives, one of these great groups that was like a throwback to, we talked about Grandmaster Caz, the Cold Crush Brothers. They doing all those routines and stuff like that. Leaders of the New School brought old school flavor back into the new school, and Busta Rhymes was one of those dudes that was like the most charismatic, members of the group, and he just went on to do great things as a solo artist, and he completely got it, because he tells you, he goes, look, Busta Rhymes is my trademark, it's my job, it's my character, it's a costume I put on, it's not fake, it's just me just going all out. But he's a person that could distinguish from that, the human being. But the bottom line, that artist didn't have any limitation artistically, so he's that guy.
That's real. I'll give you that. But let me say this too. We was talking about Dre versus DJ Quick, because it was a comment that was made of somebody had said something to the effect of DJ Quick is everything that people think Dre is, basically. And the truth of the matter is, I got to say this much too. I just want to add on to it. We're not going to go through the whole discussion again, but
yeah, go watch Focus Up if you want to hear the full discussion.
I think DJ Quick is, they both on the same level as far as musically, in a sense, with me. But let me say, what gives DJ Quick a little bit of an edge, he's a better rapper. Mm.
You know, and not only that, he's probably writing his own rhymes, but
Yes.
he's the dude that really is a start to finish guy. Dre,
Right.
in many respects, is kind of like a Quincy Jones. He's a
Right.
more of a collaboration, bring things together guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, you know, when you talk about Quick, I mean, he's really doing all of that stuff. He's sort of like that Prince album where they're like, hey, by the way, Prince played every single instrument on that album. That was all him. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference between when you got someone like Quick and you got someone like Dr. Dre. But I always say that, look, Dre isn't really one of my favorite producers. I see him as a dude that I think is one of the top producers, the hip hop producers. He's that guy. He's real clean. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the super clean sound. I do find a lane for it, and I do love it when he does it. That Eminem song, "Guilty Conscience," I know it's politically incorrect, but I mean it's just amazing. The vibe, the how they do. I mean, you know, I'm just saying. So I you know, that song, "Everywhere I Go, Bang Bang." I was shocked that Dre even put his name on that. That didn't even sound like something that I would associate with Dre. That was just some hip hop, like dope ass, like sampling type stuff. But I'm just saying it. His staple it just can't be touched. If you go grab his discography, I don't know if you can grab another producer who can tackle his discography. But if you're attacking his actual contribution, his actual manipulation, especially his ability to finish and get something out and move on from it, there's no question that Quick is beyond that. You know.
Well, let me say this.
He's literally quick.
Yeah. Say this much right here. All albums that I know Dre that done did, except the DOC, he always had a co-producer or somebody else there helping him with the music. All the way from NWA all the way up to now. Mm-hmm. That's all I got to say about it. So, but the
no
DOC,
shame in that. No shame in that.
The DOC, I think he did the whole DOC by himself. Nobody else. No Yella. It was just Dre. So, you know, but it is what it is. But anyway, we respect y'all stopping in here one more time. This Saturday morning. We finna get up out of here. It's about that time. So we should be back. I don't know if we're gonna do next week or we're gonna do another show. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But we do thank y'all for being here on the Focus Up Show and the Spin That Back Show. 9 o'clock Saturday morning is the Focus Up Show. 10:30 Saturday morning is the Spin That Back Show right after the Focus Up Show. We want y'all to check this out. If y'all get the chance, like I say, hit that like, subscribe button, and